Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Josh Mansfield, a teacher with the Demon, and with me is Nathan Fox, one of the founders of lsatdemon.com and the weekly podcast Thinking LSAT. Our email today, Nate, comes from Addison with the question, permission to break Demon protocol on RC.
Hello, Demon Team. A question was recently read on episode 539 of Thinking LSAT that addressed the question of how to treat the fourth passage on RC for test takers who typically finish the first three passages and may not even get to the fourth passage. Or if they do, they debate skimming the passage to improve on their guesses versus reading the passage intentionally like they did on the first three. As somebody who loves the Demon approach to everything LSAT and has seen the benefits in my PTs, I appreciated your answer. However, it triggered a thought in my mind for these test takers. In an instance where the fourth passage contains 8 questions and the third passage contains 6 questions, would it be appropriate to do the passages in the order 1, 2, 4, 3? Passages 1 and 2 are likely to be the easiest, as we know, so I would never suggest skipping these. But given 3 and 4 have a fair chance of being of similar difficulty, would breaking protocol of doing the passages in order to finish the questions on an 8-question fourth passage and then leaving the 6-question third passage to luck make sense? I don't want to seem like I'm embracing or promoting a gimmicky trick, but in reality, glancing at the question bar at the bottom to see how many questions each passage has would take maybe 5 seconds upon starting the section, and a yes or no decision could be made to potentially use this strategy. I've not used any other prep company than the Demon, so this may very well be a strategy that is suggested by the other guys that y'all have already debunked. Love the show. Look forward to hearing from y'all. Addison, what do you want to say?
I have 2 answers. So I've never had this question, I don't think. Not that I can recall. I want to start by saying I see Addison's logic. Like, her thought process is one that I can track, and it makes sense to me where she kind of came to this conclusion. I would have 2 answers about why I personally would not use this strategy. Number 1, I know that the third and fourth passages are going to be more difficult, but I think on average, the fourth passage is going to be more difficult than the third passage, per the LSAT's metric. To me, what that says is I would rather take my chances on 6 questions on an easier passage than the 8 questions on a more difficult one, because all it takes is missing one more question on that the 8 question passage because it's more difficult, and all of a sudden that benefit is nullified. That's my one thought. My second thought, I just don't want to think about this. I mean, I know Addison says like it only takes 5 seconds at the beginning, and that's true. But then at that point, I'm thinking about, I finish a passage, how much time do I have left? Do I need to start jumping to the fourth passage, or do I have enough time to try for both? Like, as soon as I think you think about one thing in this strategy, I think you have to, it encourages or invites a lot of other strategic thinking. And I want to think about the question or the passage that's in front of me. I don't want to think about time. I don't want to think about passage length. I don't want to think about order. I don't want to think about difficulty. I want to think about the word that I am currently reading.
Yeah. That's what I want to say. On the one hand, I don't care. Sure. Do it. Do 1, 2, 4, 3 if there's more questions in the 8th passage. Or sorry, if there's more questions in the 4th passage and you want to do it out of order, fine. But you're going to be really sad if it turns out that the 4th passage was the hardest passage, because now you just outsmarted yourself.
Yeah.
2, it screams, I'm obsessed with time. I'm thinking about the time. I'm wasting time managing my time. I know that you said it's only a 5-second thing, Addison, and I think you're right, but you're doing it because you're worried about the time. And I can just imagine you doing passage 1, glancing at the clock, doing passage 2, glancing at the clock, skipping ahead to passage 4. Now you're really looking at the clock and you're like thinking about, how I shouldn't take too much. Oh, I'm taking too much time. I'm not even going to finish the 3rd passage, and that type of shit. It's like, well, now you're paying so much attention to the time that it's subtracting focus from your job, which is just comprehending what you're reading.
I want to actually, you said paying so much attention. I would say paying any attention to the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Any attention is too much attention to the time.
Yeah. You don't have extra brain cycles that to waste, and that's what many students fundamentally get wrong about the LSAT entirely is that they think that they're supposed to be balancing accuracy and speed, but what they don't realize is that the speed hurts their accuracy and the
Mhm.
time management hurts their accuracy. And and then the big irony is that that actually hurts your speed, because now
Right.
it's hard to understand. You are checking, double checking, triple checking, going back to, oh, what, I got to reread the passage. I don't know. All these answers look good, or none of these answers look good. What do
Yeah.
I do? And now you're just like frantically going back and forth and back and forth. And all the while, all they were asking you was whether you understood the passage you read. So if you just read it more carefully to begin with and ignored the clock entirely, you might have finished the questions way before you predicted you would.
Yeah. And that might give you time to get to the fourth passage. Like it's just it's I
Oh
want
yeah.
right? Like I just want to think about what's in front of me. That's all I want to do. And so yeah, to your point, like, is this bad advice from Addison? I mean, I've definitely heard worse, but any advice that is not just are you comprehending what you're reading and answering the question about what you read is
Yeah.
probably going to at best be like net neutral, but in more cases than not it's going to distract you from the real mission.
Yeah. It's a little bit like playing Russian roulette for $100 or something. It's like, well, there's minimal upside
Right.
and major downside.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I think by her own admission, she would say, oh, well, I might get 1 or 2 more points
Right.
by doing it this way. Yeah. Okay. So there's that's the maximum upside available here. But on the downside, what if it completely destroys your performance on the whole section because you're doing this weird time management gimmick?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're also counting the fact that like the more questions you guess on, the better chance you have of getting some points out of it. And so you're also losing just like mathematical value as well. I mean, I couldn't do the exact math. I'm not smart enough, nor do I have the expertise to do it. But to your point, Nate, I think the upside is at the absolute most 2 questions. And that
Yeah.
is just not a very high upside.
Yeah. Yeah. That's with no guesses, right?
No guesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you,
So
yeah.
I would, I'll say it again though. If you can do it without, if it can actually be no big deal for you to do this, then fine, do it. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah.
But if there's any chance that it's going to cause you to think about the time or take any other gimmicky kinds of strategies, I would just say, nah. My job as a lawyer is to read and understand things. I've got a big pile of work in front of me. I'm going to put my nose to the grindstone and do the work.
And in fact, I would say if it is something that you decide to do, you need to decide immediately and not deviate. Which means like don't decide near the end, oh, do I have enough time? Which one should I do? It should just be I always do 1, 2, 4, 3 if there's more than 4.
The
I
problem,
don't
the problem is I can just imagine what someone like this is going to do next is because now they're taking, okay, it's only 5 seconds up front, but they're taking 5 seconds up front to glance and see how many questions there are in each passage.
And decide the order. Okay.
What if you notice that the first passage only has 5 questions and the second passage only has 6 questions? And what if the third and fourth passages both have 7 or 8 questions? What are you going to do now? Are you going to be, and you start reading, you remind yourself, oh, but the first and second passages are usually easier. But now you start reading the first passage and for whatever reason, you don't like the topic or like it's just not clicking with you.
Or I've seen a level 5 be in the first passage.
Yeah.
Like
one
you just
really
get a
hard
doozy
question.
right off rip. Yeah.
And now I can just imagine somebody, abandoning ship because people like they lose their minds on test day, right?
Yes.
They
yes.
do. They don't treat their official test as if it's just another practice test. They go in there and they on test day, at the last minute, it's just fumble at the goal line, where they just like go insane and like, oh, well, I was halfway through reading the first passage, but I didn't feel like I was getting it. So I skipped ahead to the second passage, and it's like, oh man, okay.
There you go.
You might as well have just walked out of the test, because you're now just so obviously flustered and burning time, instead of reminding yourself that it's basically easy, it's basically solvable. You just have to make sure that you're chewing each bite one at a time.
Let me give you my personal story give Addison, I guess, my personal story. I had a third passage, and I don't know why, but for some reason that passage just didn't click with me. And I remember about one paragraph and a half in, I had to make the decision, and I was like, am I going to just try and hurry through this one so that I can get to the fourth passage, or am I going to actually commit to doing this one right? And I just said, you know what? I'm going to commit to doing this one right. So I sat down, I kept working. It took me forever. I was scoring in like the upper 170s. I took forever on my third passage. I only got to 2 questions on my last section, or my last passage. I read through it. I did 2 questions. Time ran out. I had 5 unanswered questions. I scored a 174. Like, because I didn't miss. I focused on what I was reading. I got it right, and I just put my head down and understood what I was reading.
And you like stayed committed to your form.
Yes.
It's just good mojo. It's good mojo for the next passage. It's good mojo for the next section. It's good mojo for the next test you're going to take, where you're just like, no, I don't give up. I'm not the type of person who gives up. Fine, this one's harder for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean I can't sort it out. Not only that, but tons of examples where a difficult seeming passage is followed by unbelievably easy questions.
Yeah.
And the opposite's also true, where easy seeming passages are followed by harder questions. So you really just got to give up on the idea that you can, that it's even your job to tell or to think about it or to strategize. That's not the point. The point is, how much can you get out of this passage? Because if you get what's there to be gotten, then the questions are going to be easy.
Yep.
Hope that's helpful, Addison.
Thanks for writing in, Addison. Appreciate it. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question, share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.